My name's Steve. Welcome to my channel. This is the 2018 Nissan Leaf. My wife and I leased it October of 2018, and it's got some issues. So one issue that we have that we're getting ready to go take it to the shop for is a clicking noise. And then the other issues that it has is you cannot take a road trip with it. So it has some good features and some bad. The reason why it can't take a road trip is because the quick charge uses a CHAdeMO charger that will charge it from empty to 80% in 30 minutes, but they are usually not working, or they are not anywhere around. The one that we have close to me they've locked it. The dealership has locked it. When we got the car, each dealership had 0 or 1 of these. In order to get the red one, my wife and I had to go to a dealership that was 2 cities away, and to get the red one. The black ones that they had the lane assist, and the red ones did not. So it has all the features that you can have on the top model: leather seats, heated, everything else, adaptive cruise control, and all that. But it does not have air conditioned seats, which I was kind of surprised, and it doesn't have a sunroof, which I was kind of surprised, and it doesn't have the lane assist, which would have been a nice feature. Not a deal breaker, obviously, or we wouldn't have got it. She has put a ton of miles on it. So come to find out, what happens is the battery is air cooled instead of being liquid cooled. So it degrades a lot faster because of heat. So for that reason, for that reason, it's not a good buy. Most of the other electric cars out there have some kind of cooling system for their battery, whether it be liquid or, I think most of them are liquid. I think Tesla's liquid, that will make the batteries last a lot longer. Some kind of thermal management. So it drives nice. I'm 6'2", and it's very comfortable for me inside. As I said, this version has leather seats. We got the WeatherTech floor mats to preserve the floors. I think we're going to buy it at the end of the lease. At the end of the lease, it'll be $14,000, but that'll still be worth it for us. To open the front panel, you simply push this button right here. This is to stop it from charging, and this is the heated steering wheel button. This is to lighten and darken the lights inside, and then obviously you have trip reset. It drives nice. Okay, here's the charging ports. So this is the J1772. It takes about 4 hours to charge it from empty to full, and these can be found in a lot of different places. They're the universal charger that's found everywhere. But the problem is it takes 4 hours. So when you go somewhere, if you need a full charge, unless you feel like sitting around someplace for 4 hours, you've got a problem. So the alternative would be this. This is the CHAdeMO charger. The CHAdeMO charger is it's proprietary to Nissan and some other cars. I'm not sure what, but Tesla can use it. They make an adapter for Tesla. It's not very common, and like I said, when they break, they're not replacing them or fixing them, so you can't do long distance traveling or day trips in this car. So at home, I have installed a charger that will fit with this. It runs on the same kind of circuit as a dryer, and so my wife can charge every day when she's sleeping a full charge. She drives 60 miles to work and 60 miles home, so she charges overnight, and then, or I should say during the day because she works nights, but then while she's at work she plugs into a 110. This is the back seat. It's fairly roomy, not super comfortable for tall people, but it's not bad. I've never sat back there, so I don't know how bad it is or how good it is. There's a cup holder. And that's really about it. It's pretty minimalist back there. The trunk is pretty deep. I don't know if that's the battery underneath there or what, but it'll hold a lot of stuff. And the seats fold down to create more space if you need it. We've had to do that. Okay. I showed you that. So to turn it on, you just push this button right here. And so the car's air conditioning and heat runs off of the main battery, while the heated seats and the heated steering wheel run off of the regular car battery, the 12-volt battery that's up front. But the main air conditioner and the main heat run off of the main battery. So what we didn't know and found out very quickly is that, especially in the wintertime when you're running the heat, your range will be diminished greatly. So this car, for instance, is a 40 kilowatt hour battery, and its range is supposed to be 150 miles. In the wintertime, the range is probably more like 110 if you're running the heat. And then in the air conditioning, with the air conditioning running this summer, it's probably a little better, maybe 120 miles on a full charge. But nobody told us that when we bought the car, of course. The other thing they told us at Nissan when we got the car was, the brochure actually says this, and so did the salesperson, that the CHAdeMO network is ever expanding. It is not ever expanding. It is ever decreasing. And for that reason, I wish that I had not gotten the Nissan. The Tesla, as of right now, March of 2020, you can get for, it's $2,500 down and $5,000 upon delivery. And you don't find them used very often because they're such a great value. The cars drive well. They're getting better and better about making sure that every car is the same consistency in production. And so you're not finding little air leaks and things like that, and bad seals and whatnot. And actually, we have a service center not too far from us. It's in the same city where I got this, that does repairs on them. Or they'll also come and repair them remotely. Meanwhile, this car has developed, and I'll let you listen to it. Okay, so one of the features it has is it has eco mode, which does better on your juice because there's no fast starts and stops. The car has a instant torque because it's an electric car. So it will beat just about everything out of the light. The problem is that when you drive it fast like that, it uses a lot of juice. So the eco mode helps prevent that. The e-pedal makes for one pedal driving. Your gas pedal, or whatever you want to call it, when you let off it stops the car. So it's almost like brakes. And what it does is it prevents you from using your brakes, so your brakes are going to last longer. And it also allows you to reclaim the forward energy back into a charge for the battery. So I don't know if you can understand that, but the forward momentum of your car recharges the battery, and the bottom line for you is it acts as a braking system for your car, which is great, except that mine has developed a click. Let me see if I can hear it. And it happens when it starts and when it stops. I'm going to start off driving. So let me turn off eco mode. See, it's not doing it. It's not doing it right now. It did it when I first started off, but it's a clicking noise. There you hear it, and it stops. Start, stop. And so we're out of warranty because the warranty only lasts to 30,000 miles. So we're going to have to pay for this out of pocket for them to find out what's making the clicking noise and how to solve that problem. Next, I'm going to take you for a drive. If I can mount this thing to something. Oh, something else. There's not a flat surface there's not a flat surface on the dash to mount one of these little pop sockets to, so we had to get a dash one. If you look, unless you want to put it on the GPS, there's not one. And by the way, the GPS in this car sucks. It's really horrible. I don't use it at all. Also, I can't show you because I'm using my phone for my microphone, but the Apple CarPlay in the car won't detect my iPhone 11 Pro Max. And I don't know why, but it won't. It won't detect it. Maybe I'll have them look at that when we take it to the shop. And it's very quiet. It's a quiet drive. And like I said, I'm 6'2", and I've got a good 4 inches of headroom here. And it's a pleasure to drive. It would be great to take this on day trips. When we bought this, I pictured going from one CHAdeMO charger to the other to the next one and being able to take trips. There are no CHAdeMO chargers south of us. I live in Virginia, so we're talking from here. I live in Southern Virginia, so we're talking about from here south to North Carolina, none. And then north, there's usually 1 or 2 in Richmond that work. Sometimes they don't work. That's the other thing. The app that we use is very inconsistent. It'll say that that's one of the problems with charging, is that the app will say the charger's there and it's working, and when you get there, it's either not there or it's not working. Or there's somebody there charging already. And that's going to become more of a problem as more and more people get electric cars, that the electric cars are going to be, there's going to be more and more lines for them. They're going to be, because they're not as plentiful as gasoline stations, and it takes you 30 minutes to charge right now. Tesla supposedly is inventing a new technology where they're going to double their battery charge. So I anticipate there being a 600-mile range in the next couple of years, and then they're also inventing a faster way, because the problem is shoving a bunch of ions into a battery creates a lot of heat. So heat becomes a big deal. There we go. Now watch, I'm going to step on it. And this thing will go. It'll beat almost everything out of a light because it's what we call instant torque. And it's a little fun to do that every once in a while. It's almost gotten me in trouble a couple times. But if you're the first one at a stoplight and you need to get over, it's not a problem. So to get back to what I was saying, as I said, Tesla's inventing a new charging technology that will enable you to charge much, much faster. It'll shove those ions in their battery much faster. So batteries are charged by the kilowatt hour. So for instance, most of the CHAdeMO chargers have a 50 kilowatt hour. Tesla measures it by how many miles you get per hour. So for instance, this is a 150-mile battery, supposedly, and if it takes 4 hours to charge it from empty to full on a J1772 charger, which is 220 volts, then you're looking at about, 40 miles an hour roughly, 35 miles an hour. This is how much it's charging. On a CHAdeMO charger, in 30 minutes, you're going to get 80% of that, which would be roughly, 120 miles? 130 miles? So if you get 130 miles in 30 minutes, then that's fast. Okay, that's 260 miles an hour that you're getting a charge. So that's great. The Tesla chargers are, I think, a little bit faster than that. But for instance, there's the Walmart near where we live, the other technology that most cars use is called CCS. That's their fast charge. CCS, called combo, basically. It's a J1772 with another charger added onto it to make it faster. So it's equivalent to CHAdeMO, but more cars use that than CHAdeMO. So the Walmart near where we live got these chargers. Charge America, I think, is the name of the people that put them in, and they've never worked right, ever. The CHAdeMO has never worked correctly, rarely worked. I think one time I went there and it worked. And then the rest of them, there's apps that you can look at and they'll be like, couldn't get it to work, called customer service, they couldn't get it to work. And then eventually they put something out there on the app that said, we know it doesn't work. And I put a comment saying, they've never really worked. Meanwhile, at the mall, almost right across the street from there, they put a bunch of Tesla superchargers, and they all work. And I see people there all the time charging their Teslas. So unless someone else can create and maintain a charging network as the equivalent of Tesla, Tesla's going to dominate the market. And that's just the way it is. AT&T was the first ones in our area to get the iPhone, and I said many times that we were their business to keep or lose. And as soon as other companies were able to get the iPhone, everybody jumped ship off AT&T as fast as they could, because AT&T were at first overwhelmed because everybody wanted the iPhone, so they were overwhelmed. They couldn't hire enough people to keep up, and their customer service became horrible. Then, after they got all these customers, their customer service was still horrible. So everybody hated them, and same thing with Cox Cable when they first came here. Everybody hated them, but they were the only game in town. Then Verizon came along. Coincidentally, we have Verizon Fios here, which is the TV network and wire internet, fiber network, and we have Verizon cell phone. As soon as Verizon got the iPhone, everybody jumped ship and went to Verizon, even though they were more expensive. And with Verizon Fios, so the deal with Cox Cable was that you shared your signal with everybody else in your street. So at 5 o'clock when everybody got off work, all of a sudden your signal strength went way down and your internet speed dropped like a rock. While with Verizon Fios, the signal went straight from their distribution center, or whatever you want to call it, to your house. So you maintained your speed. And so everybody jumped ship and went to Verizon. And that's just the way it is. And Cox Cable, when they were the only game in town, their customer service was horrible. Horrible. And I was one of their customers. But, Verizon's not really, their customer service isn't a whole lot better. And what I tell people is, you'll love the service and you'll hate the customer service. Verizon's fast, and they have some really good features to their services. I think in this market, they are the most expensive of the cell phone carriers, but they are also the strongest signal. You can get, for instance, I switched over to Sprint for a week and couldn't get a signal in my own house. So I switched back. It cost me some money, and it was a stupid thing to do, but I switched back. So I'm getting off the topic of the car, aren't I? The car has been a good car, but when we get to the end of our lease, we're going to probably purchase the car and then resell it for whatever we can, even if we take a loss, or purchase the car and keep it since we already have the charger installed at our house, and we're going to buy a Tesla. We have fallen in love with the electric car concept, just not this electric car and not Nissan. I wouldn't recommend Nissan to anyone. Their customer service has been horrible to me. Where I ended up buying the car is where I go to get the maintenance done on it. And they only have 2 Nissan Leaf techs at that service center. And so I have gone there before. They've made an appointment for me to get my car looked at. And I drive the hour to the place, and they go, the techs are off today. Sorry. And I'm like, okay. So drive an hour back. And then there was something else they did that was really almost just as stupid. And of course, whenever they do one of these stupid things to me, I always get one of those surveys. How did we do? Well, I'm going to tell you how you did. You made me drive an hour out of my way for nothing, So, and then an hour back. And so then the customer service manager, the next time he sees me, goes, "Oh, you're the guy that did that survey." And I'm like, "Yeah, I am. If you mess me over and then ask me how I did, what am I supposed to do? Lie?" So that's that. The Nissan Leaf was the most popular electric car at one point, but once people get wise to the fact that they can either spend 4 hours charging at, if they can find a J1772 charger, they can either spend 4 hours there, or they can, get a different kind of electric car and charge quickly. Nissan's going to lose their market. Not only that, but they're not offering any selection. Like I said, when we got this, most of the dealerships had zero in their lot, and the reason why is because dealerships make their money on service. They don't make a ton of money selling cars. So they make their money on service, and this car is fairly maintenance free. No oil changes, because if you use the e-pedal, you don't go through brakes as fast. There's not as many brake jobs that they do. The only real maintenance that you have to do to this car is the 12-volt battery has to be replaced every once in a while. They tend to be a little harder on 12-volt batteries than most cars. The 12-volt battery is still required to start the car, believe it or not. You can jump the car with the 12-volt battery with jumper cables, just like a regular car. And then the tire rotation. It goes through tires. But just like a regular car, not any faster, unless you drive it really hard. So please leave a message in the comments or any questions in the comments if you have any for me. And thank you for listening.